If you are filing a simple tax return, which many people are, you could use the free version of H&R Block online. Just to show you some of the tax forms that are included in your online version, you could just click down there and click on Federal Forms, and you will see all the forms that are included in the online. And this will pertain to a majority of the population. You could also do your state form. Now, to log into the account, all you need to do is click on the sign in. And if you already have an account, it's easy. You just log in. You did this before. But if this is your first time, you will need to create an account. To save time, I have already created an account and I've already started a tax return, which I will show you. Since I already started an account name is sample return, I could just continue. But what I'm going to do is show you some of the things. Go in overview. You could do your federal and your state. But I'm going to go to federal, and it's going to go to the last screen you completed. So if you save something, you could go back and continue later on. But I'm going to start at the very beginning. And you put in your information. The name I'm using is sample return. There's a birth date. And these are information I already entered in. You just click on edit, and you could change your information anytime if you accidentally miss something and so on. And of course, you're going to need your social security number and your employment. So now we go, just click and just follow the tutorial. Put in your phone number and other items. Dependency, if you have children, this is where you put it. Your student status, if you're a student. And you could click and add additional dependents as needed. Okay, I'm filing as a single, I know that. And so I just move forward. And these are make-believe addresses and so on, but let's go. So they're just checking your data. Okay, now they're going to dive into my income, and you can see how it moves across up here on the top. This is your general information, but now we're going to go into the income area. So I already put in some information for my employer. W-2 form, and you may recall this is how it looks. And each of these items in your W-2 form will be filled out. But here's box 1, box 2, and so on. And all you need to do is transfer the data from those boxes over into the program. So I took some of the information out. I add that in right there. And these are the wages, sample wages I'm given. And in some cases, you may have some items in box 12A to D if you've been given money to a retirement account and so on. And you just go through this. And this is also your state and local information. So everything that's on your W-2 form, you place into this section. Now I ask you some questions. Is this a corrected W-2? Usually the answer is no, so you don't check anything off, but read these through, make sure. Just follow the tutorial. And now it reviews what the information you gave. If everything looks right, you just click on next. And now it just moves on, just review, it goes on. If you have 2 employers, you would add another one. After you added the information that was on your W-2 form, your employment, you may have some other income that you wish to add. A common place would be investments, like your bank interest. So let's say I had a CD in the bank, so I would click on add interest, and then I'm going to add an account. Now they're listing some common big places that have accounts. But I just got my account at our local bank, so I'm just going to type in local bank, and then I'm going to go next. And I'm going to add the income that I received from that local bank. And I received a 1099 INT interest, so I'm going to add that. And I'm going to enter that manually. So I put in the name, the tax, the ID tax number from the bank, but the interest. Let's say I received $600 in interest. I had a CD there. I had no penalty because I waited till it catch. No federal income was taken out. Nothing. I just go through all the things here. Everything looks okay. There was no state tax withheld. So I'll leave that blank, and now just click next. So there it added that interest on the form. Let's say I had some dividends. So I'll just go here. I'll add a dividend form, and I'll enter that manually. It was from the same bank. If it was from a different bank, you could change the name. And let's say I had $300 in dividends from an ETF that I have. So I put that in, checked everything out, go next, and I add that. So this information is correct. And I just go. If there's more information you want to add, like you have other things, you can add another account and move forward. But that's all we're going for here. And there's another type of income. You could click on that and you can see if you had some money from some other sources, like you received an unemployment check or whatever, you will need to put that here. But I don't have anything for that. So I just go forward and I just click on next. And now he's looking at deductions. I'm not going to itemize. You can't itemize with the free program anyway, but the standard deduction is usually big enough. So you're just going to look through everything. If I have the pay version and I did my 2023 taxes, it will show that information here, but I'm using the free version. So I just continue. Let's find out if you should itemize. No, I don't want to itemize. Well, let's find out. It's going to say standard deduction anyway. If you want to add a Roth IRA or traditional IRA, you could do that. I did that already, so I'm putting that in. Let's look at what I put in there. This is that IRA. If you don't have a retirement from work, you might want to start putting money into an IRA, either do a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. Okay, it looks like a standard deduction. That's what I want to do. And we'll see what it shows. Okay, so this is sort of a summary. So I did give money to an IRA, so that was a deduction. That was a traditional IRA. And the standard deductions for single people, it's $14,000. So to itemize and get more than $14,000 of deductions is not very common. The vast majority of people, I think 85%, are using standard deductions. So we go through that. It automatically adds that in. I know I don't have any tax credits, so I'm not going to go through that. You could read through these, but I just want to give you a quick overview of the free version, so I'm just going to go through it. That's not very common to do those things anyway. Oh, bullseye. I guess everything looks pretty good. I get a tax refund. And you could say click to view the summary, and this is what I have. The income is $44,000. I gave money to a traditional IRA, so I subtract that. So now my adjusted gross income is $37,000. Deductions, itemized, taxable income, total tax, and so on. By the way, if you get a refund, that means you paid too much in taxes, but if it's not a big refund, don't worry about it. Okay, they want me to upgrade. I do not want to upgrade. $34. Hey, money is tight, so I'm just going to go continue with the free. Now, the problem with the free program is it doesn't save it. So make sure you print it out your total tax return at the end of this. I usually print mine out and I also save it as a PDF. So I have a digital and I have a paper copy of my tax return. So they're asking you again, but nope, we're going to just continue. Now, I'm going to pick a state. I picked Pennsylvania, so let's go through and do the state return. All that information is already there under the federal. It just pulls it out and puts it into the state return. And if you were in that state for the whole year, it's pretty straightforward. It may be different here, but in Pennsylvania, they ask for your school district code. And most people don't know what it is unless you did the taxes last year and you know what the code is. But you can look it up by knowing your county and you just go through those. So I'm going to pick Allegheny County and I'm going to pick the city of Pittsburgh. And there's the code right there. You just hit select and it will put that in. And then you go on to the next. So he's looking at my wages. After you go through all the screens, they then get to a summary where you can check your Pennsylvania income. As you may recall, the salary was $44,000. I had interest and dividends, a total of $900. I have nothing else here. And then I will just go through. Next. Okay, no, I will not have any credits. You could go through these, but depending on your income, chances are you will not have any tax forgiveness credit. If you want more information, you could click on Explain, and it will tell you a little bit about it, how these credits work. First time you do that, you might want to read everything on the screens, but after you do this a few times, you could go through it much quicker. You have no additional taxes for the state, so I'm just going to go next. So it's now summarizing. The Pennsylvania tax that I owe is $1,378. It withheld, that was information off the W-2 form, $1,217. And we just go through this further. And I'm going to end up owing money. Oh, man. File an extension. No, I'm going to pay my taxes on time. Now, how do you want to attach your W-2? I upload it when I'm ready. I send it separately by fax or mail. Okay, I'm going to upload it. And you could just take a picture of your W-2 form, or if you have your W-2 in a PDF, you would just upload it that way. In fact, I'm kind of surprised you're asking for an upload because the information was already put in, but if they ask you for it, just put it in there. Good job, you complete it. And of course, if I file it online, it will be free. Okay, view full summary. Well, I'm not going to do that because we already looked at that before. Okay, they're asking you again, do you want to sign up and talk to a pro? Nope. This is pretty straightforward. I have a simple return. I'm just going to say no thanks and continue doing the free version. got that bullseye again. Now what I do want to show you is I want to show you how you get your PDF. Now to file online, they need to really check your identity. So you need to know last year's adjusted gross income. And the way you find that is you go into your last year's tax return. You go into the Form 1040. In fact, it would tell you this right here. You go into the Form 1040 and you look at line 11, and that will tell you your adjusted gross income for your prior year. Now the program is preparing my forms for submitting the tax return online. So that's what it's doing. So it's telling me what we have here. This is my refund for the federal. It's now back to the federal. And it's asking me how do I want to get the money? Do I want to get a paper check? It takes around 28 days. Or do you want to deposit it straight into my bank account? I prefer to have it deposited right into my bank account. That's what I do. And for that, you need your routing number and your account number. And it tells you how to get that information. You've probably done that before. You just have to look at it and check that you might have, and you can see the routing number on your check and your account number. Send me a paper check, because otherwise it keeps asking me to put my routing number in and my account number for my checking account. So I'm going to go back in here, and there's the balance from the state. And I also want a paper check from that. You could say electronic, just make it quicker, but for the purpose of showing you the final PDF, I want to have to check that out. Okay, you can submit your federal return quick and easy with e-file, but I'm going to say I'd rather print and mail my return because I want to show it to you. When you're doing the program, even if you're doing e-file, it gives you an opportunity to print it out. But I'm going to go print, then next, next. Okay, it's asking for more ID here to verify who you are. That's not required. So you could say, I'm not willing to provide. It's not required in Pennsylvania. I don't know about other states. So I'm just going to say I'm not going to do it, just to show you the PDF. Okay, so now it's going to say, do you want to print out your return? And let's click on print. And once I click on print, it now shows me a PDF version of my tax return. It gives you the summary in the beginning, but then it goes all down here. It shows everything. But this is the important part down here. Oh, not yet. It's just showing you this. But we'll get to it. There it is. There's the 1040 form. This is the main form of your tax filing. So it has your name in there, your address, your social security number, and these are all make-believe numbers here. And there's your salary or income. And here is the interest from the dividends and from the interest. Everything add up. This is the IRA that I gave, and it subtracted that. My standard deduction, which the majority of people will use, would be $14,000. And you subtract that. So what tax is taken out, when it would then subtract everything, and I got back $1,727. Actually, this is not the taxes taken out. This is the taxes you owe. But payments were taken out. This is this. So it's actually, that's why you have a return here. And you need these other forms too that go with it. So if you were mailing this in, you would mail in all the forms, not the very beginning. You won't mail in this stuff, but you will mail in your from 1040 down. You will mail that in. Now, here are, the state is Pennsylvania. Here is your state tax return. And you will have to mail in, you pay a voucher, you tear that off and you add that in with your check. But if you're doing this all online, you will not need to do that. You may just need to have to upload your W-2 or whatever else it tells you to upload, and it will send all this information out electronically. And that's how you do your taxes online, the free version.